Hi guys, welcome back to Nico Talks Hockey. Today I want to talk about fantasy hockey. This is something I'm very passionate about. I love fantasy hockey. I just love playing it every year. I can't imagine going a year without it. Today I want to talk about goalies in fantasy, who I think will be the top 10 goalies in fantasy this season. I'm going off to kind of just like the general ESPN stats. I don't play Yahoo. I play ESPN fantasy hockey. But I think that this can still be applicable to Yahoo fantasy hockey. I want to go over like the 10 best goalies in my opinion to pick up. I think that there's some surprises in here, and there's some goalies that it's based off of how many wins they're gonna get, the respective teams, right? How much workload they're gonna have, how much of the net they have to share, injury history as well. So there's definitely some personal predictions involved in here as well. So it's not just going by the book and which goalies I think do well historically. It's which ones I think will maybe break out a little bit here. So we're going to start with, we're going to go from 10 to 1, move all the way up to 1. But before we get to the number 10 spot, we've got an honorable mention, and this one is Karel Vejmelka of the Utah Mammoth. Karel Vejmelka, I think, is a goalie that is in for a big season. I have big expectations for the Utah Mammoth. If you've seen my predictions for how the season's going to go, my prediction for the Central Division standings is that the Mammoth are going to finish at the number 2 spot in the Central Division. So very well in the playoffs. They're gonna have a really good season, is what my prediction is. So I think that Vejmelka, if he gets the lion's share of the net, which it very likely he will be getting, Vitek Vanecek is the backup there, and I don't think that he will take too much the net away from Vejmelka there. So he will have, I'd say, at least 60% of the net, 60% of the starts. Which will be awesome for him, and he's just got to rise to meet the occasion. So, I think that Vejmelka will be a great fantasy option for a goalie. Maybe not your number one, but maybe like your second goalie. Moving on to the top 10 here, though, this is a goalie that if you're not big into drafting, like drafting goalies, maybe you're a no goalie strat. This is someone who I could see working there, maybe as a lower tier number one goalie option. It's Lucas Dostall of the Anaheim Ducks. He's someone who will absolutely have the lion's share of the net. There's not much in the way there that will stop him from, getting all those starts. I absolutely am a big believer in him and his game. I think that he will have a similar season stats-wise than last season. I don't expect any regression. I think that what we see here is the Dostall we're going to get for the foreseeable future. He just signed that long-term deal. So the Ducks are good to go. And again, I don't think the Ducks will rise as much as the Mammoth will, but I do see them being a playoff team. I think I have them third. I think I have them third in that Pacific Division. So if they make that, they're going to get lots of wins. That's lots of fantasy points for you. And Dostall is at number 10 for my top 10 goalies in fantasy this season. Moving on to number 9, this is the New Jersey Devils netminder, Jacob Markstrom. This is a goalie that I think will do great. Again, it's a lot of this, especially early on here, you have to factor in the wins for the team. In ESPN, in fantasy hockey for ESPN, wins equal 4 points. That's insane. So if you've got a netminder that's on a team that is just like in the top 10 of the league, in the top third of the league, you've got a great goalie. And Jacob Markstrom, although he's got a good backup in Allen, right? Jake Allen. Markstrom is the guy they went to go get to be their number 1A. So I predict 55 to 60% of starts for Markstrom. And he's going to benefit a lot from that. So Markstrom will get you tons of points if you decide to pick him up in fantasy this season. Moving on to number 8. This one is going to be on, it's Mackenzie Blackwood of the Colorado Avalanche. Now, I consider moving him down to 9, Markstrom up at 1. But I decided to stick with it just because the Avalanche are a much more proven team when it comes to having great seasons year in, year out. Blackwood will have the lion's share of the net. He will be the number 1 goalie, but there's a bit of an injury history there, right? He can sometimes go down and be out for a few weeks. So that's always a little bit of a concern, but I'm hoping that Mackenzie Blackwood will stay healthy here. And if he does, he will be absolutely one of the best netminders in fantasy this season. He can absolutely be, if healthy, your number one goalie to draft in fantasy this season because, I think the Avalanche will absolutely be a playoff team. I personally have them being the top team in the Central. So, Blackwood will get your fantasy team a lot of points. Moving to number 7 here, I've got Adin Hill, the Vegas Golden Knights. Even with the rumors of Carter Hart going to Vegas, I don't think that he will take too much of the net away from Adin Hill there. And the Knights, by my account, and from a lot of people I'm also seeing, I think a lot of people are expecting the Knights to be the top team in the Pacific. That's a lot of wins. And that's, if Adin Hill is the number one guy, they shipped out Logan Thompson. And even if they don't get Carter Hart, Akira Schmid's not taking too many starts away from him. So, Adin Hill's going to get a lot of time, a lot of playing time. He will be in the net for most of the nights, and he's a good goaltender. He does have a streakiness to him. Like he can be like, he can go on these bad cold streaks. But for the most part, I think that he will rebound a little bit from last season, and he will be more hot than not. And he comes in at number 7. At number 6, this is my personal favorite goalie in fantasy this season. It is Linus Ullmark of the Ottawa Senators. I think it is someone who, I have big beliefs in the Senators this season. I think they will do great things. I think they will be at least in the top 3 of the Atlantic. In my opinion, I think they will be the number 1 team in the Atlantic this season. But even if you don't think that, even if you don't think the Senators will be like the best team in the Atlantic, I think you can still have them as a playoff team. And Ullmark has that pedigree of being a former Vezina winner. He will have the lion's share of the net. They have Merrilainen, who looks very promising for sure, but he's young, and I don't think that he'll take any more than I think that Ullmark will start 65 to 70% of those games. So, it's looking good for Ullmark, and he is my personal favorite. But there's ones, the next 5 above Ullmark, I think, just objectively speaking, are probably better plays if you don't want to take a little bit of a risk there. So that at number 5, this is the top 5 goalies for fantasy this season. I think this guy will get you lots of points still, but you'll probably have to pay a high price for him. It's Andrei Vasilevskiy, the Lightning. Now, I am starting to hear a rumor that he hasn't been seen on the ice for a little bit here, that he's been out of practices. I don't know what that's about, but here's hoping that he's not out for too long. Vasilevskiy is a fantastic goaltender in real life, and he's a fantastic goaltender in fantasy. Look, I personally have the Lightning just missing playoffs this season. If you saw my other video, that shouldn't come as too much of a shock, but if you haven't, spoiler. However, he is undoubtedly the number 1 goalie in Tampa Bay. You don't have to worry about starts for him. He will almost always be starting. And the Lightning should be very competitive. Now, maybe they don't get as many wins, so maybe you get less points when it comes to the wins. But I still think you can bank on the fact that his save percentage is still going to be awesome. He had a big rebound year last year, was a top 3 Vezina candidate. I still see that as being a realistic finish for him this year as well. So Vasilevskiy will get you tons of points of fantasy. You might have to pay, he'll go somewhere within the first 5 rounds. So you'll have to pay accordingly and draft accordingly. But, that's worth it to get, the big cap. Moving to number 4, another Florida netminder, it's Sergei Bobrovsky. Now, I hummed and hawed about putting Vasilevskiy ahead of him. I think it's more of a sure bet that the Panthers will make the playoffs this year. I think they will definitely make it, right? So you've got that assuredness. I don't know if it's 100% sure that the Lightning make the playoffs. Whereas I would absolutely take the bet that the Panthers are going to make the playoffs this year. Whether they, do the three-peat and pull off another cup, that's still to be determined. But they're making playoffs. So you can factor in the wins. Sergei Bobrovsky is going to be the number 1 goalie. You can factor all that in. Everything's being checked, except he's not the most consistent netminder when it comes to regular season play. His save percentage does dip during the regular season. It really peaks in the playoffs. And that's when you want it, right? Fantasy is pales in comparison to the glory that is the Stanley Cup playoffs. But when we're talking fantasy, we're talking the regular season. And yeah, Bobrovsky has less good numbers than, Vasilevskiy, or even, especially the next three goaltenders that I'm about to say above him. So Bobrovsky comes in at number 4. At number 3, I've got the Dallas Stars netminder Jake Oettinger. He is absolutely a top 3. I had, these top 3 were as cut and dry as possible. These 3 goaltenders are the best goalies in fantasy. So yeah, Oettinger comes in at 3. He's one of the best goalies in the NHL, period. Now, he's always going to give you a 900-plus save percentage in the regular season, but don't expect too much more than that. He does elevate his play in the playoffs like Bobrovsky. And the Stars are equally as good of a bet to make the playoffs as the Panthers. So that's why I put them so close, 3 and 4. Oettinger comes in at number 3. At number 2, this was close. Number 2 and number 1 was so close. But at number 2, just because it's not an absolute surety that they bounce back and make the playoffs, I have the New York Rangers goalie, Igor Shesterkin. Shesterkin is, in my opinion, the best goalie in the league. I think that the balance that he has between regular season play and postseason play is the best of any netminder currently in the league. So yeah, I rate Shesterkin very high. However, when it comes to fantasy, he's on a team that isn't as good as the Winnipeg Jets currently is. Connor Hellebuyck is the number 1 goaltender in fantasy hockey. So what's the difference between 1 and 2? It's the team play. Also, Hellebuyck is genuinely the craziest goaltender in recent years, in the past 10 years during the regular season. He's year in, year out, one of the best netminders, and the past 2 years he has been the best. So you can't just throw that out. All respect to Igor Shesterkin, but he comes in at number 2. I am bouncing back, betting on a bounce back for the Rangers. I do think they'll be back in playoffs comfortably. But yeah, you can't beat Connor Hellebuyck, in my opinion. You can't bet against Connor Hellebuyck when he's on this much of a run. He just won the Vezina back-to-back and won the Hart Trophy as the league's most valuable player during the regular season. And it makes sense that he's the number 1 goaltender in fantasy for the 25 and 26 season. So yeah, that's the top 10 goalies this season in fantasy. You're going to have to pay a lot to get to draft Connor Hellebuyck, because I believe in ESPN he's like 2nd or 3rd on the draft board. So he's going to go quick. He's going in the first round. But it might be worth it, because with all the wins he gets and all the starts he has and the save percentage that he puts in year out, it's probably worth it. So yeah, again, that is my top 10 goalies with an honorable mention there for safe measure. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I wish there's another fantasy video I've got coming out, which is going to be the best sneaky draft picks, the ones that are a little bit down the lineup, but like on the draft boards, but are some really good value plays. So watch for that coming out next. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing. I wish you all the best of luck in your fantasy drafts, and I will see you guys in the next video.